40 days away from WWE Super Bowl. WrestleMania 42 in Las Vegas is right around the corner, and we are here to break it all down for you. The young buck Andy York is with me. My name's Chris Belcher. This is Squared Circle Radio Live. And Andy, I have to say, I am excited about this show. It helps that we did a reaction show Friday night after SmackDown, after Cody Rhodes won the championship. The two WrestleMania main events are set. Tonight's show is going to give us an opportunity to talk about a whole lot more things that are developing rather than just the main event scene. We're going to talk about the main event stuff, of course, but I'm excited for this, man. I'm excited to dive into all this.
Yeah, I feel like, there's a lot of times when we're not able to talk about a lot of the other matches that are heading into, especially WrestleMania, because there's just so much going on. So the fact that we're able to kind of spend some time and talk about some of those and even speculate on what some of the mid-card matches at Mania might even look like this year, because those have not shaped up as well as a lot of the main event stuff has. So it'll be really interesting to dive in and talk about it all.
And most of the time, those are the ones that steal the show at WrestleMania. Those are the ones that we end up talking about afterwards. So I'm excited to dive into that. But of course, like I said, we're going to talk about the main event stuff, the way that Raw ended, the way that SmackDown ended on Friday. We're going to talk about all those things. If this is your first time hanging out with us, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Drop those comments in the chat. If you're live with us, just like City Kitty, thank you so much, of course, for being with us. And if you, yes, she says Usos coming in hot. Yes, we're about to talk about it. Before we do, we want to remind everybody, I mentioned it. We did a reaction show on Friday night, immediately after Cody Rhodes won the WWE Championship. Go back in our archives, go check that out. It's available wherever you get your podcast and, of course, on our YouTube channel. So go back and check that out. We gave immediate feelings and thoughts, and there wasn't, Andy, a lot of comprehensive sentences between the two of us. I think 48 hours later, we're going to have a little more to say about it tonight. So lock in for that in just a few minutes. But I have to say, we have to start with the way that Monday Night Raw ended. The main events of WrestleMania are set, both night one and night two. Of course, the one we have known for a month now, CM Punk and Roman Reigns. We know Roman Reigns was not there tonight after last week's controversial comments from CM Punk about Roman's dead dad. They talked about it on Busted Open, Andy, and I'm so glad that the Usos came out to acknowledge Punk's comments in a fiery segment to end Monday Night Raw. First of all, Andy, I'm glad they didn't shy away from this and pretend like the Usos didn't hear it. Maybe we see, of course, everybody's already saying The Rock's coming back. He's going to get Punk, blah, 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 whatever. I'm not manifesting that. What I'm saying is, let's just not pretend that everybody was deaf to what Punk said. I'm glad they addressed this.
Yeah, I mean, I am too. I think it's important that they do that because of the bloodline history and everything that that they've gone through over the last 3 or 4 years and even before that. So I think it's really important that we had them kind of come out and be part of it. I think it was also great kind of the way that Punk flipped it. Of even though he didn't send them out there, he's always going to be Roman. Jimmy and Jay are always going to be Roman's lapdog. So I think that was a great shot of just Punk even driving it in even more. Like, if he really cared about us that much, he would be here every week going into the biggest show of the year, and yet he's not here. So I think it was just a great back and forth segment between the Usos, between Punk. I don't really want them to get involved more than that, because I don't think every WrestleMania main event with Roman Reigns need to involve the entire bloodline. I think we need to kind of have him do his own thing. Just like I'm glad Paul Heyman is not involved anywhere near this match, because it needs to be its own separate thing. But I think we got 5 weeks now until Mania. Having this be brought in now, I think was smart, rather than making it closer to the show and then you kind of have to involve the Usos even more at WrestleMania,
especially on a week where Roman's not here. We knew Roman wasn't going to be here, and you're able to get the Usos involved. The only thing that I will say that I need to have happen now is some sort of interaction next week between the Usos and Roman Reigns. Like, I don't think we need to extend it over the next 5 weeks, but I do think we need some sort of closure, some sort of something, because as Punk mentioned, Roman didn't say sorry for how he treated his family, whatever. The only person he said sorry to was Sami Zayn. And that's because Sami forced him to. But he never, I mean, maybe he kind of did on the way to the first War Games when it was OG Bloodline versus the MFTs. Maybe he kind of did, but Punk hitting on it, like, I don't know if that's the direction they'll go next week, Andy, with, Jimmy and Jay saying, hey, he was right, you should say you're sorry, or Roman just basically telling them, this is the way I think it'll go. Roman basically tell them, look, I don't need you to fight my battles. I appreciate it. I appreciate our family, and I appreciate you being there for me as a brother, but I don't need you to fight my battles. Let me do this on my own, kind of thing.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think there does need to be some interaction between the three of them. And maybe even like they're on good terms to start, but by the time they're done, they're not on good terms. Whether Roman says, I get why you did what you did, but don't do it again. Like, stay out of my business, stay out of my way. Or even like, I think it'd be really interesting if Jay, the pit bull again that he was tonight, which it was refreshing to see that version of Jay, because that's the version that got everybody invested in him anyway.
Yep.
If that was the same version we got next week of him backstage in Roman's face saying, we had to do that because you weren't here to do that. Like, we had to do that because you started this, but you're not here enough to finish it.
Yep.
So, like, I think something like that, to where, yes, they acknowledge what they did this week, but then they're like, now it's on you. Like, we did our part. Now it's completely on you to go and take care of it.
I tell you what, man, I know that over the last year plus, Jey Uso has gotten the spotlight. I mean, you could argue over the last 5 years since he was dubbed main event Jey Uso, and he had the feud with Roman, obviously, in 2020. I know Jay gets so much spotlight, rightfully so. He's charismatic, and everybody loves him. But dude, Jimmy Uso proved tonight why he is so good on the microphone, and he is not the Marty Jannetty of this tag team. I'm sorry. I'm not saying he's Shawn Michaels, but Jimmy Uso proved tonight why people just overlook him, and it's a travesty, man. He was so good on the mic tonight.
I mean, he easily was the funniest, outside of Sammy, was the funniest member of the Bloodline.
Yeah.
Like, week in, week out, he was the most entertaining key and the most entertaining part. I think, doing it all over again, like, I think the feud between him and Jay, when they split, it should have been flipped. I think Jimmy should have been the face. I think Jay should have been the heel, because I think it would have worked a lot better for both of them. He cut an amazing promo tonight. I mean, you're in there with one of the greatest, if not the greatest of all time on the mic, and Jimmy held his own. Like, he didn't feel out of place. Jay didn't either, but that was just because of the energy that he was bringing and everything. But Jimmy, like, word for word, stuck in there with Punk, and I thought that was really important for them to do that. I think another turn might be happening sooner rather than later between the two of them. But if it does, like, I hope Jimmy gets more of a chance to shine than he did going into WrestleMania 40, because he got nothing out of that.
Right. Yeah, for sure. And there's lots of backstage things that happened, and time got cut, and et cetera, but we don't have to dive. We're not going to dive into the WrestleMania 40 thing, though. It's good to see, though. It's good to see Jimmy be able to rebound. I would love for him to have gotten a shot at a singles championship. I don't think it's going to happen now. City Kitty agreeing with us. Jimmy was great. He was fantastic. Hopefully, the way that Monday Night Raw started out, let's talk about that for just a second. The way that Monday Night Raw started out, I'm hoping that we're leading to an Usos versus Logan Paul and Austin Theory match at WrestleMania. I would think that's where we're headed, because once again, Adam Pearce calls out Seth Rollins, and Seth comes out with a troop of masked men, not just one, not just two. He came out with a whole troop of masked men and revealed himself. And then Logan Paul and Theory come out, and Seth uses that troop to be able to get away. So the reason I say Usos versus Logan Paul and Austin Theory, again, I don't know what you do with LA Knight. It's really interesting, but Once again, Andy, Seth Rollins did not touch any of the Vision members. Just like last week, the only one he touched was Paul Heyman. And it was pointed out on commentary tonight. What will Brock Lesnar do when he comes back next week after what happened to Paul Heyman last week with Seth Rollins? So lots of ways to go with this opening segment.
Yeah, I mean, I think because that's kind of the first thing I thought when, well, I thought a lot of things when all those masked men came out. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But when Seth ran off and then LA Knight came out and then the Usos came out, I was sitting there going, it makes sense to do Logan Paul and Austin Theory versus the Usos, but you also have to have LA Knight involved in with the Vision at some point too. I mean, because of everything that's happened. So it's way too late in the game to just add a random third member to the Vision.
Yep.
Unless somehow like Braun Breaker is cleared to come back.
I'm thinking, yep.
Because I don't think Bronson will be cleared anytime soon for that. So if anything, it's got to be Breaker. So like that's probably the option where we get a 6-man tag. Because Braun may not be fully healthy, but is healthy enough to come back and be involved in a 6-man where he can kind of come in, hit the highlights, and then be done. Or like we just get a straight up LA Knight versus Braun Breaker at Mania, which I think is a real possibility too. But
I think it is. But I think if that happens, like it has to be a squash match. Like Braun just has to run through him in like 5 minutes. And then I don't know that you want to do that.
No, because LA Knight has been through enough. I mean, the dude is. I don't know what more he has to do to actually show that he deserves a high ranking spot in the company. But he's like Drew. At least Drew got the title.
That's true. I think a 6-man is probably the way to go. I always hate when champions are in non-title matches at a big show, especially like WrestleMania. The Usos haven't even been coming out with the tag team titles for the last month or so.
I completely forgot they were tag. When you said I hate champions in non-title, I was like, who's the champion out of them? Oh, yeah, it's the Usos. Oh, yeah.
Usos.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a weird situation. Injuries are really, really causing this thing to be convoluted. LA Knight's the odd man out. I can't see a scenario in which he doesn't have a WrestleMania match, but anybody's going to get left out. It's going to have to be him with the way that this is all shaken out. But you had a thought about the masked men and their whole, whatever, what's the scrambler game that you see at like football games and sporting events, find the football or whatever. I thought it was the first time it was fine. The second time they did it, let's not do that.
Well, I think they should have just done it the second time and never did it the first time.
Right. Well, I agree.
They did it the first time and then Seth stood up and I was like, you can clearly tell who's Seth out of this group and who's not. Like he's you can kind of tell who Seth Rollins is and who's not.
Right.
I don't want this to be Seth's gimmick now heading into WrestleMania. Like you did it into the build up and you did it to reveal him coming back. That's awesome. Last week, doing it one more time to get even with Paul Heyman, I thought that was a great way to just, pun intended, stomp it out. That's it. It's done. We're done with it. And then this week, there was like 70 guys just jumping the barricade, getting into the ring. I thought it was another takeover like Daniel Bryan. I was looking for the yes movement. So I don't think we need to involve it anymore. I think we're done with it from here on out.
I'm going to play devil's advocate for just a second. Because that's first thing I thought of too was Daniel Bryan takeover, which I thought was cool to have Seth Rollins do it in his own way. This also gave me 97 Sting vibes of Sting bringing all the masked guys in and all the painted guys in. You don't know which one's the real one, which again, like you said, we know which one was Seth Rollins, but I think the thing that got me, and I wrote this in my notes, I thought it was so crucial that they did not play his music tonight. I'm so glad they didn't. Like for him to be able to come out of the crowd still as the masked man with all these, if that's what it takes to prolong the definition or this definite distinction of Rollins being a face or a heel or whatever it is, like he's probably a face. We get that. But we don't know exactly what Seth's motives are. Let's push that out for another week. I'm okay with it, but I'm like you. The ridiculousness has to be, you got to slow down on the ridiculousness to continue the credibility.
Yeah, I mean, if they do it next week, then I need Brock to just kill every single one of them.
Agreed.
Like every single one of them needs to just be obliterated.
Yep, I agree.
So maybe they bring it back again, but I think I know he was a part of the Shield, so like that style of the gimmick and the outfit and the mask and everything else was like definitely a key part of making Seth Rollins Seth Rollins.
Yep.
It's kind of like the chair shot. Like we've seen it again, we've seen it again, and we've seen it again. It's like this is the equivalent of like Shawn Michaels throwing people through glass windows as like a callback to what he did multiple times. We don't need to see it every single time.
Good thing he only did it once.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. So like you gotta we gotta just let Seth be Seth. Like that's the most entertaining thing about him. And like this I agree, this mystery side of him of like he hasn't said a word in 2 weeks.
Yep.
He's just looked at people, he's just kind of done his thing. He's been the masked man in the shadows. That aspect of it I really like.
Yep.
But we don't need to bring in some of the hokiness that wrestling likes to bring in. I think especially if this was Danhausen, it'd be completely different. But it's not. It's Seth.
We're going to talk about Danhausen here in just a little bit because that man needs to be talked about. I guess I'm here for this Seth thing because it really reminds me of Sting. And Sting was one of Seth's favorites. So like I can see where they would draw this kind of thing and whatever. So again, let's see what happens next week. I do like the idea of Brock just annihilating all of them, and that's the end of it. So we'll see what happens. Let's pump the brakes and let's just kind of see what happens. Again, I remind you, if you're new to the channel and you missed Friday night's live reaction show, go check it out in the archives if you're listening on podcast or on YouTube in the live section of our videos. Make sure that you go check it out because Andy and I reacted to the brand new WWE champion. That's right. This past Friday on SmackDown, Cody Rhodes defeated Drew McIntyre to win his third WWE championship to set up a main event match at WrestleMania against the winner of the Elimination Chamber, the Viper, Randy Orton. Now, Andy, as I said, on that reaction show, you and I had a lot of feelings. You and I speculated a lot. We said explicitly that we have no problem with Cody Rhodes winning the championship. We certainly don't have a problem with the dream match happening at WrestleMania, arguably the biggest match that could possibly happen for either of these guys, Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton for the championship. It just stinks for Drew McIntyre because Drew works so hard, and the only other person maybe that sacrifices more on the roster is Seth Rollins than Drew McIntyre. Those guys just, get run over all the time, but they keep coming up better and better. Rumor is that Drew is going away after WrestleMania to film a movie. That's neither here nor there. But Andy, 48 hours later, you formulated some thoughts, you formulated some analysis. You're out of the feelings phase. 48 hours later, what's your reaction with all this?
Honestly, my reaction is still kind of the same. Of just, I don't hate Cody being the champion. I love that we're getting Cody and Randy. I think it is a money match. It's probably the biggest match, like you said, for both of them. Second biggest match of WrestleMania weekend. Could be an argument made for the biggest, depending on what happens in the match and what goes on. And it seems to be, and I think this is like my biggest takeaway, because I kind of said it after it happened, and it's just kind of, the more I've thought about it and the more I've looked it over, it's kind of solidified it to me that this is just how Triple H books heading into WrestleMania. Of just letting sometimes the numbers, the tickets, all that stuff just be the driving force behind it, which is fine. Like that makes sense. But you sacrifice a lot of your stories by doing that. And I think that's my biggest thing is like we have how many times going into WrestleMania in the last 3 years have we used the word pivot because of either a bad booking decision that they made, injuries which nobody can predict and nobody can look into the future for. So that one's, you got to do what you got to do in that situation. Bad booking decisions or just taking the Vince Russo route of swerving just for swerving and then trying to course correct it like a month later going into the biggest show of the year where really like your stories should have been told, like started telling months in advance. Maybe Rumble is the latest you could start it, but before then, like I think you need to start planting some seeds before then, which they've done for Randy and Cody, but then they added Drew into the mix, gave him the title, and it kind of derailed everything. So I think that's my thing is I don't hate the direction that we're going in now. I hate how we got there. I hate how we've gotten to this direction when it was so much easier just to keep a straight path going towards it rather than taking a left, taking another left. Oh, we're back on the same, like we're back where we should have been months ago.
So do you think this was a last minute pivot to put the title back on Cody?
I don't know if it was a last minute pivot or it's one of two things in my eyes. It's either a last minute pivot, which isn't good, or it was just a bad booking decision to put the title on Drew and have them face so many times going into WrestleMania. So I think it's one of those two. I probably lean more towards they just wanted to put the title on Drew just to kind of appease the fans going into WrestleMania rather than pivoting, a massive WrestleMania match. But then again, they pivoted to turn John Cena heel his last year. So like anything is really possible at this point.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I lean more towards this was the plan. Now I can't confidently say how long this was the plan. But I do think this was a plan of sorts because I'm like you. I think they put the title on Drew just to get some interest rather than it be the long-term plan. Because if Drew was going into WrestleMania as the champion, and if he is leaving, he was going to lose anyway. So, and the story with Cody and Drew has been going since September of last year. So I tend to believe that fans would have been, rumored came out today that it was supposed to be a Hell in a Cell between Drew and Cody. I tend to believe that if you would have put Drew and Cody one-on-one at WrestleMania, there would have been a lot more backlash than there is right now because it just, we're tired of that.
Especially if Cody wins again. Right? Yeah, especially if we're going like the scenario that Drew is leaving afterwards to go film, Cody obviously has to win the title unless his name was Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar. But like if Drew loses the title at Mania again to Cody Rhodes, then you're really you're really testing fate by doing that.
Andy Backyard Wrestling in the chat with us. Thank you for being here. If you guys, other gals are in the chat, drop your comments and questions. We'll try to get to as many of them as we can. He says, love it or hate it, putting the title back on Cody, despite Drew being awesome, is certainly best for business. No pun intended or pun intended. Cody is still in his prime and you can't hate on that. I think he hit it on the head, man. I think it truly is best for business. And despite the 100,000 dislikes on Twitter or on YouTube and all the internet wrestling community keyboard warriors complaining about Cody Rhodes, listen, just go back and listen to the crowd on Friday night when he won the championship. And on the way to WrestleMania, listen, people are going to be excited. Cody Rhodes, we said this before the Unreal series came out. We emphasized it when Unreal came out, and I will go to my grave saying this. Cody Rhodes, QB1, it's not just a nickname. Cody Rhodes is the guy. And there's a reason that he's the champion going into WrestleMania. There's a reason that he has main evented every single WrestleMania that he's been back, except the one that he returned at. And you could argue that would have been a main event if Stone Cold Steve Austin wasn't coming back. You know what I mean? So Cody deserves it. And neither of us are sitting here saying that Cody doesn't deserve it, because Cody versus Randy, while you only have 5 weeks to tell the story, doesn't even need a full 5 weeks to tell the story. That sucker writes itself. And I think we're going to see that play out. My opinion, past WrestleMania. I think they go past WrestleMania with this story. It just stinks for Drew. But the bottom line is, Andy, you were saying that you feel like that maybe they should have told this story a long time ago. I think if they would have started telling this, because they did start telling this Cody Randy story, last year or whatever it was. But I think if this would have been the obvious direction, let's say from November or even from January, I just think SmackDown needed a change. And even if you would have put Cody and Randy in there, I still don't know that the interest would have come up like it did with a title change with Drew. You know what I mean? So I think they needed that shot in the arm. I hate that it was just a shot in the arm, and you're probably not going to get a payoff, because I tend to believe Jacob Fatu is going to beat Drew at WrestleMania. So again, it feels like a huge pivot, but I do think, as Indie Backyard Wrestling said, I do think it's best for business.
Yeah, and I think, again, like we talked about this Friday after it happened, like there's still a possibility that this is a multi-man match. Like that it's not even a one-on-one. There's a possibility that it could be a triple threat or a fatal four-way. If you made me bet on it right now, my odds would be that it's like a 15% chance that it's a multi-man match. Everything else, it's more than likely going to be just Randy and Cody, probably Drew and Jacob. And again, like my thoughts on that hasn't really changed either, of that now that match doesn't feel as important as it did when this moment right here happened. So I think that kind of plays into it as well. I completely agree though. Like Cody going into WrestleMania as champion is going to work more times than it's not going to work.
Yep.
And I think that is a very key component to it. And you're probably right. Like SmackDown absolutely needed something to make it more interesting, because it was really struggling the last couple of months, really struggling before Drew won the title.
Yep.
I think we could have found another way, but maybe using someone else other than the guy, like the guy that you have been dangling the carrot in as much as anyone else. You put him and you put LA Knight in that category of, I put Penta in that category up until last week, of just dangling the carrot right in front of him and then pulling it away. You gave it to him and then you immediately ripped it away from him. So I think there was a better option than what we did. And I think that's not just my biggest beef with it. I think that's a lot of people's biggest beef with it. But Cody main eventing is not an issue. Cody going in with the title is not the issue. I think it's just how we got to that point, I think, is the biggest issue.
2 lefts don't make a right, but 3 do. And WWE found a way to tell us that story. We'll see what happens this Friday. We know that the contract signing is this Friday on SmackDown. And as you said last Friday, it could, lights could go out, Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu attacks, and we get multiple people. I'm like you, though. I tend to believe that we're sticking one-on-one here with Cody and Randy to preserve that story and to tell that story for the WrestleMania Night 1 main event. All right, we appreciate you guys being with us here tonight. We're going to take a little pause for the cause. Let the Reverend Tom Bryce tell you about our friends at Sports Wire Radio, and we'll see you on the other side.
Looking for all the latest happenings in the world of sports and wrestling? Well, you're in luck, because Sports Wire Radio has you covered 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year. With great shows in the world of sports, such as the Pinstripe Chronicles, hosted by Uncle Tats, Donald Stewart, and Rob Barrows. New York Baseball Talk with Chris Bazaya and Rob Maraska. The Liftoff Jets, also hosted by Chris Bazaya and Sharman Phillip. Neil Villapiano and the Devil's State of Mind. Randy Dillon's Hockey Fan, chat. In the world of wrestling, SportsWire Radio has you covered with Squared Circle Radio, featuring Chris Belcher, Andy York, and Jared Justice. Those sit-down marks with DB, Primo, AJ, and Michael. A work in progress, featuring the Mayor of Canton, Piles, and Glenn Abbott. You can catch all of these great shows and more anytime, anywhere, and any place via the Listen Live button on SportsWireRadio.org, and you can also catch SportsWire Radio anytime on YouTube at SportsWire Radio 6579 to catch all the latest happenings in the world of wrestling. SportsWire Radio has you covered. It's all sports matters and all wrestling matters here on SportsWire Radio. I am your host, the owner of SportsWire Radio, the #1 global radio station, the owner of the Promo Wrestling Federation, and one of the owners of the Pride Wrestling Federation, your voice, figuratively and literally, where all wrestling matters, the Reverend Tom Bryce.
Thank you, Tom Bryce, for that incredible rundown. Again, if you're listening on SportsWire Radio, where we are played almost daily, I would say, keep it locked in right here for all of that great content. And as Tom mentioned his YouTube channel, if you're a fan of rock and roll music, there are interviews over there that you don't want to miss that Tom has conducted with some incredible folks. So go check that out. And there's some pro wrestling on there too. It's not just rock and roll. Raven's been on there. Savio Vega's been on there. Some great interviews that Tom has done. So go check that out on their YouTube channel. Support them in the way that they support us. This is Squared Circle Radio Live, though we are with you right after Monday Night Raw, just like we are each and every week. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you a thing, and it helps us so very much. Also, like the video. It's a little thumbs up button under the video. It helps the algorithm. Also, the algorithm is helped by you dropping comments, dropping questions in the chat. We love interacting with you guys. We appreciate your support. That's the Young Buck, Andy York, and my name is Chris Belcher. And Andy, we told him when we started this show, we were going to talk about some mid-card stuff. The main event stuff is out of the way. Let's talk about one of the biggest things, or probably the biggest thing that happened on Monday Night Raw tonight, something that we have been waiting for a long time. Finn Balor is kicked out of the Judgment Day as of tonight. He tried to put Dominic Mysterio in his place following his Intercontinental Championship loss last week to Penta. Dom wasn't having any of it, Andy. But what shocked me about this whole thing, we all sort of saw the signs of Finn and Dom, and then Dom loses the Intercontinental title last week, and we're like, well, wait a minute. That seemingly was the match for the Intercontinental title. But Andy, the shocking thing about this whole thing is JD McDonough aligning with Dominic Mysterio, not Finn Balor. I know you've been waiting on this for a long time. Finn has been freed.
It's about time. It is about time that Finn Balor has been freed. My fear is that we're going to still be in this feud this time next year at WrestleMania.
Well, that's very possible. Yeah.
With Finn and Judgment Day. I think it was past time for this to happen. I think we've been saying that for a long time.
Yeah.
Just because I think, especially Finn, like we've been talking about Judgment Day breaking up, but I think especially Finn, more than anybody in that group, has ran its course. Like he has done everything he could do in that group because they're not going to put the world title on him. They're not going to, even put a mid-card title on him because that's what Dom's there for. Right. So I think he has done everything that he can do or needs to do. And so having him go on his own way, I think people have been waiting and clamoring for him to go back to being a babyface for a while. I think there is a really, 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 really good chance we get the Demon at WrestleMania this year. And I think, I think it's going to be a fresh change for Finn, which I think is really important. Puts him kind of back in that mid-card potential world champion level again, being freed out of Judgment Day. So I think the story going into Mania is going to be great. I think it's going to be fine. I think more than likely Dom is going to get a win because he's the young guy and they're pushing him to the moon. But I do think it's going to be a great step for both of them to really kind of go out on their own now and do something completely different than they've been doing for what's it been, 4 years now?
Yeah. I mean, it's been 20.
It formed in 2022.
Yeah, 2022. Yep. Andy Backyard Wrestling still with us. Should definitely be Demon Balor at Mania. He says, got to be Finn and Dom at Mania, right? I'll address that in just a second. Dom should be losing the Mega Championship to Vikingo, banning him from AAA for now since he's cursed by Danhausen, which I'm wondering how that's going to come up. But Andy, let's circle back. Finn and Dominic. I'm not sold that it's going to be Finn versus Dominic now. Without the Intercontinental Championship, I think there's a chance it's a tag match, that it's Dom and JD, having JD involved with Finn and his partner being Rey Mysterio.
The annual Rey has to get involved in whatever Dom's doing at WrestleMania. Yeah,
why not? Why, he doesn't have anything for WrestleMania right now.
Is he cleared, or I thought he was hurt?
I think he's cleared.
I thought he came back from injury and like immediately got hurt again.
No, he got hurt like the night before the Royal Rumble and then wrestled in the Royal Rumble. I'm fairly certain. Did he get hurt after the Rumble too?
I think so. Maybe. I don't remember. Either way, I don't need to see, unless Rey's career is on the line, I don't need to see Rey and Dom at Mania again. So I don't need to see those two together. I think Rey can go off and do something else. I'll tell you what would be really interesting, and I would love it. If you want to put on the best match you can possibly put on for the Intercontinental Championship, Penta versus Rey for the IC title just screams money. Like, it screams the match of the weekend to me. So I think that could be a real option. I think JD and Finn will probably wrestle in between now and Mania.
Yeah.
And then, and maybe even like a stipulation that if Finn wins, Judgment Day is barred from ringside. And so it's just Finn and Dom, and finally Dom has to prove he can do it one-on-one. So I lean more towards Rey or towards Finn and Dom than a tag match. But again, Mania is all about putting as many people on the card as you can. So that's a real possibility.
That's the only thing that I worry about too. I think the right match is Finn and Dom. I thought for a minute once JD blindsided him that it could just be Finn JD straight up, and Dom somehow gets wrapped up with Danhausen, which we'll get to in just a second. But with Dom being the one to do the frog splash and the 619 with a loaded boot, I mean, it's got to be Finn and Dom, I think.
Yeah, unless it's JD and Dom versus Demon Balor and Danhausen.
Oh, now that is intriguing. Indie Backyard Wrestling, I see your comment about the vision. We'll address that in just a second, because we keep bringing up Danhausen. We have to talk about Danhausen, because Danhausen, for those of you who are not aware, Danhausen is over, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. That's a great name. That's a great name.
Demonhausen. Danhausen is over, ladies and gentlemen. And when I say he's over, it's not just me saying it. The whole internet, I'm just saying, I'm not going to go down that tirade. But 1 week into the company, Andy, 1 week, the people are doing his chants, saying you are cursed. He has the #1 best-selling shirt on WWE Shop in 1 week. The debut might have fallen flat for some people, but Andy, they brought him out during a commercial tonight, and the international crowd got it. I don't know if you saw the video on Twitter or not, but he came out. The people lost their mind. He threw out free t-shirts. They did the "You Are Cursed." This dude is over, and I love it.
Yeah, I mean, they have done a great job bouncing back from the debut. I think there's no doubt about that. I love Danhausen. I've always loved Danhausen. I think it's just
kitty. We love Danhausen. He's not going to curse us. It's okay.
No. Yeah, I'll buy him I'll get him his blimp with his face on it, or whatever his.
We are Fanhausens.
Demandhausens were.
Yes.
Yeah,
we might have a problem with we could induct him into the Sports Y Radio Hall of Fame, though, Andy.
I'd put him in the WWE Hall of Fame. Why not?
I don't think we have the power for that. What I'm saying is, I think we could pull some strings for Tom Rice.
Oh, absolutely. But I do I love what they have done with him, because it's been just so simple.
Yep.
You don't make him wrestle, which is fine right now, and you just let him be him. and you let him be entertaining. You let him be in there with people like Judgment Day, who could just do that one little one-off thing, and then it's just a domino effect. Miz on Friday, I thought that was hilariously done between them.
Yep.
And then OG Grande Americano, and then him losing the match. I don't even know what really happened between that. So I think all they've done with Danhausen has been great.
Yep.
And it's gotten people invested because people enjoy, we're there to be entertained.
Yep.
Yes, we love the seriousness of calling out dead dads and everything else, but we love to be entertained by ridiculous nonsense, and that is up and down Danhausen.
Yes, it is. It's 100%. I can't wait to see what they continue to do with him. Maybe they put him in this tag match with Finn Balor at WrestleMania. Who knows? He's got to do something at WrestleMania, and please don't wait much longer to put him with R-Truth in something.
Yes.
I need them together somehow, some way, because I need R-Truth to call him Sting, because that would be amazing. Right?
Yeah. I don't know if they can, but that would be amazing.
I think they can figure it out.
He called him Jeff Hardy.
Oh, that's true. They can figure out a way to call him Sting. They call him I don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter. Regardless, I need Danhausen and R-Truth together. I love the interaction with the original El Grande Americano tonight, and just continue to do these things with Danhausen, and you will get more Fanhausens. That's the way it works. Just
and they need to explain the teeth at some point.
Yes, they do. That's true.
But other than that, everything they've done with him after his debut has been awesome.
Oh, that would be a fun way to bring in Britt Baker to the WWE. Wouldn't it?
That would be.
Wouldn't that be so cool?
That
if Danhausen was her evil dental assistant or something crazy, that would be awesome.
Well, then we got to get Kane's first gimmick to come back.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. What
was his name?
Isaac Yankem.
Yeah.
I yank him. Let's get to Indie Backyard Wrestling's comment real quick and get us back on track. We addressed this earlier, but he drops his comments. So I want to make sure that we circle back in case there's somebody new that didn't check out the beginning of the show. Don't rewind it yet, but you can go back and check out a little lengthier discussion that we had earlier in the show. Who do we think the Vision's Mania match or matches will be? Vision versus Seth, and who? 2-on-1 handicap match? No. Usos versus the Vision for the tag team titles is what we said. If you're able to throw in LA Knight, and if Braun Breaker is back, you could do a 6-man Braun Breaker versus LA Knight singles match if he's cleared. But the Seth Rollins opponent is Brock Lesnar, and I'm more and more convinced of that by what we saw tonight. So we'll have to see what happens next week. But that's where I'm at, Andy. I mean, of those matches, which ones do you think have the best possibilities?
I think more than likely it's going to be Seth and Brock, and then some combination of the Usos, LA Knight, and the Vision. Whether that's a 6-man tag, whether it's a tag match and a 1-on-1, whether maybe LA Knight says, or LA Knight becomes the special guest referee for the tag match.
Yep.
Somebody, because Adam Pearce made it very clear tonight he doesn't like the Vision, so maybe he's well, Paul's not here, so he can't go to anybody, so we're gonna stack the deck against him, something like that.
Brock Lesnar, Indie Backyard Wrestling, says, "What makes you say that? Very interesting choice." Well, who has Seth Rollins been attacking since he's been back? Yes, he attacked Logan Paul in the chamber. We didn't say Seth versus Logan 1-on-1. That technically could happen. I don't think it will. I just don't know what else the Usos are going to do at WrestleMania if you do that.
Yeah.
But remember, I'll harken back to the Becky Lynch Paul Heyman interaction when Seth got hurt, and she said he's coming back to take away everything you love. And last week he stomped Paul's head in, gave him a bloody nose. And tonight on commentary, when they said Brock Lesnar's coming back next week, Corey Graves specifically said, "I wonder what the Beast will have to say about the attack on Paul Heyman last week. So there's a reason that Seth Rollins hasn't touched any Vision members since he cost Logan the chamber match. So I think it's Seth and Brock. Now, everybody wants to see Brock and Obafemi. Andy, quickly, Obafemi's super dominant tonight against Rusev. Yeah. If Brock does face Seth, what do you do with Obafemi at WrestleMania?
I mean, the easy answer is throw him in the Andre the Giant and just have him eliminate everybody and win it.
Okay.
You might be able to stretch out this Rusev thing and have like some stipulation at Mania 2, but the way he won tonight, it felt like that was just the definitive, yep, we're done with this. Like he got the big win because it came out of nowhere. That finish did.
Yep.
So I don't know, like maybe with the way that things have been going, maybe The Miz and like a squash match at Mania because of everything that's been going on. Maybe it's like a handicap match where it's The Miz and Johnny Gargano and Kit Wilson versus Oba, and he just runs through something like that. I'll say this, Oba has to be on the Mania card somewhere.
Yes, he does.
I just don't know where exactly yet.
I don't either. Maybe you bring Sheamus back and you have Sheamus face him. If Sheamus is clear, that could be a lot of fun. Yeah, he's got to be there somewhere. Somebody else that has to be there. Indie Backyard Wrestling brings it up here. What's Gunther's WrestleMania look like? Because Gunther was not on Monday Night Raw tonight after clobbering Dragon Lee. What are we doing with Gunther?
I think there's a world where we still get Brock and Gunther.
You don't think we save that for SummerSlam?
No, because I think if it happens here, Brock gets a win. And then leading into SummerSlam, Brock is feeling more confident and then puts his career on the line, whatever, and then Gunther beats him. I think something like that. I'm leaning more towards like I think Gunther Brock is probably if we could figure out something for Seth, I think that's the next best option.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like I don't really. They had a great match last week. Don't get me wrong, but I don't really want to see Gunther Dragon Lee at Mania. I don't really know what else you do for Gunther. I'm trying to like run my head through who else is available. That's a big name. Could always run back Sheamus, like we mentioned, because that'll be a banger. No pun intended. It could be, Penta and Gunther for the IC title.
Could be
is a possibility. Like that could be interesting.
I got this comment up here. Andy Backyard Wrestling says Rey Mysterio and Gunther. That's kind of what I thought.
Yeah.
In another career, you could do that.
But I feel like it has to be Dom that has to end Rey's career.
I agree with that. I agree. I don't know. I just don't know what to do with Gunther. I don't know.
Which is wild to say that after he literally has beaten everybody this year.
Yeah, I know. We'll have to see. Hopefully he'll be on the show next week and we can figure it out. Okay. It is WrestleMania season. And as we get ready to close up this podcast, Andy and I have been talking about, well, what are we going to do for WrestleMania? We like to talk about some old stuff on this show. That's what I love talking about. And that's what the late, great J.R. Justice loved talking about as well. So in order to honor him and honor what I really like to do, and this segment specifically gears a lot towards Andy, it's WrestleMania season. So this segment we're going to do for the next 5 or 6 weeks or so, the biggest what ifs in WrestleMania history. Now, Chris, what are the biggest what ifs? What do you mean by that? Well, it's simple. What if this happened? What if this didn't happen? So drop some comments, drop some questions about what you would like us to talk about in the future on the biggest what ifs of WrestleMania season. The one we're going to talk about tonight is, what if CM Punk did not walk out of the WWE in 2014? Now, we know by a post that CM Punk made a couple of years ago with this WrestleMania run sheet that he was scheduled to face Triple H at WrestleMania 30, that was in 2014. Obviously, we know how that pivoted. Triple H faced Daniel Bryan. We got the Yes Movement, and the rest is history. But Andy, what if CM Punk hadn't walked out after the Royal Rumble? What if CM Punk stays? We know there was some medical stuff going on that he might have had to take some time off for. Maybe he doesn't even wrestle at WrestleMania because of that medical stuff. Who knows? But we're putting our fantasy booking hats on here. We're having some fun. What if CM Punk stays in 2014?
I mean, I guess the obvious one is him and Triple H, which was like a collision course that we were been heading to since SummerSlam 2011, since that whole Kevin Nash debacle. I honestly think we were heading that way. Playing devil's advocate for the second, and then we can really jump into the conversation. I think no matter what, Punk was leaving after 30, because I don't think there was any way Triple H was going to let Punk beat him at that Mania. After everything that has happened, after everything that those two guys went through, how much they didn't disdain each other, how much they hated each other. I think it's very safe to say that Triple H was going to do everything he could to make sure he won that match. But if we're going off that premise of anything can happen, I don't think, because in the new 2K game, part of the showcase, which spoiler alert if you haven't downloaded it already, whatever. Part of that is Punk actually takes the Daniel Bryan place at WrestleMania 30. So he faces Triple H earlier in the night, and then goes into the main event and makes that a triple threat and for the title. I don't think that would have happened. I don't know if that happens. However, I do think if this happens, if Punk is back, I don't think we get the Yes Movement.
I agree with that.
I don't think we get Daniel Bryan winning the title at Mania, and I think we probably get one of the worst recepted main events in WrestleMania history between Batista and Randy Orton.
Yep. Yeah, because
nothing against them, but nobody wanted that.
Yeah,
nobody wanted that.
Yeah. Well, I'm with you. Like, I think CM Punk leaving opened the door for Daniel Bryan in the biggest of ways.
Yeah,
I don't think we nearly get the popularity of Daniel Bryan, because look, let me flash this picture back up here. Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30 was supposed to have a rematch with Sheamus, who squashed him in 18 seconds from WrestleMania 28. Like, he wasn't anywhere near the main event card for WrestleMania 30, and then bada bing, bada boom, some things happen. The Yes Movement happens, and then Daniel Bryan gets his moment.
Yeah.
That probably doesn't happen if Punk is there. I'm not saying that Triple H had to be the catalyst for that and, this, that, and the other, but I'm like you. I don't think that CM Punk would have inserted himself into the main event. I guess my real question for you, I know we're focusing this around WrestleMania, and that WrestleMania 30 was during my dark period. I wasn't watching regularly at the time. I know we're focusing this discussion around WrestleMania, but if CM Punk stayed in WWE, and let's just say you mentioned you thought he would leave after WrestleMania anyway. Let's say he did not leave after WrestleMania. Let's say that his burnout was not a real thing and that he was in it for the long haul. Do you think he's still in WWE today in some form or fashion?
That's a very loaded question. I don't know, because
let me make it a little bit, maybe a little easier for you. Maybe let's just say, for the sake of this argument, he's not in WWE today because he's 48 years old, and that would mean that 12 more years of running and gunning, and let's just say he's not.
Right.
Do you think he is as well revered today as he was back then had he stayed, or absence makes the heart grow fonder, everybody just needed him back?
I think he would still be looked at in the same sort of in the same light that he's looked at today.
Okay.
I think he's probably more popular and revered because he was gone. Like, I think that's absolutely part of it. But you got to also remember, like, everything that led into that like that time period of his career when he took over the new Nexus and he went into that WrestleMania with Randy Orton, and then he drops the pipe bomb and he faces Cena at Money in the Bank and beats Cena in Money in the Bank and goes on that long title run that he was in, and then he turns heel on The Rock, and even in the feud with The Rock, he was more over than The Rock, and people were loving him. I think he would have been able to keep that success and to keep that popularity, not necessarily on the same level as a John Cena, but I think he'd be like a Randy Orton, where people just love him.
Sure.
Like, if you love CM Punk, you're gonna love CM Punk. If you don't like Punk, he's not gonna change your mind, and that's totally fine because there's more. I think there's now more than ever. There's more people that like him than dislike him, and I think that's true not just in the fandom, but also like backstage as well. Right now, I think there's more people that like him than dislike him.
I mean, you listen to AJ Styles talk; he didn't want CM Punk back, but you listen to him now, and they've become really close friends since CM Punk has been back. Look, I didn't want CM Punk to come back. I didn't want it. I didn't like him when he came back to AEW. I've said it, been very vocal on this podcast about how I felt about CM Punk. I like CM Punk. I don't have a problem with CM Punk. He has proven, not just to the boys backstage, but he has proven on screen in all of these, interviews that he's done and all this, that he's learned some lessons. And selfishly, if it took him leaving in 2014 and coming back in 2023 for all that to happen, and for me to be a fan of CM Punk, sure, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'm glad he left, because the whole trajectory of the WWE totally shifts if he is still there.
Yeah.
We mentioned Daniel Bryan. Who knows what happens with Roman Reigns? Who knows what happens with Seth Rollins and his rise? Who knows if Brock Lesnar has his dominant reign? And that, just look at all these things. AJ Styles coming in and, all of this stuff. Who knows how all of that changes? And those things are very important. If CM Punk is still there, maybe those things don't happen. And I'm telling you, as cool as it would have been for Punk to ride it out and been the guy that's like, you know what, I'm sticking around no matter how hard they try to put me down. As much as that would have been cool, I'm fine with the way things turned out.
Yeah, I am too. I think, personally I think him staying around would have been awesome. I think there's so many opportunities we could have seen with him in that 10-year period. I think WrestleMania 38 would have been a great opportunity to do Punk and Austin. I think that probably would have happened.
Yep. I think it would have happened sooner than that. I
agree. I think before Kevin Owens, Punk was probably the only one that could get Austin to come out of retirement.
Sure. Yep.
But all that being said, like if we're looking at the what ifs, I think in a weird way, I think Punk would probably be in AEW right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think if he'd have stuck it out, I think he would have gone the Edge, Daniel Bryan route of like leaving WWE and probably a decent spot, but leaving WWE to then jump ship to go to AEW. And maybe maybe we don't have the problems that we had in AEW. And maybe, some of the matches that we wish we'd have got to see, we actually get to see. So I think it's just a two-sided coin that maybe WWE looks different and maybe it's for the better, maybe it's not for the better. I think AEW would look different and maybe for the better, maybe not for the better. I think it just depends on your perspective of how you would have looked at it.
Well, it's a fun thing to look at. It's going to be some more fun things over the next 5 or 6 weeks to look back on the biggest what ifs in WrestleMania history. Indie Backyard Wrestling hitting us with a bunch of comments. I see a comment about the streak. We'll get to that. John Cena. Okay. What if WrestleMania 1 doesn't become a success? The whole wrestling world is flipped upside down if WrestleMania 1 is not a success. Yep. So
The first one that he put of what if Hogan never body slammed Andre? That's the second greatest body slam in WWE history, in WrestleMania history.
Yeah. Number one being
Wee Man slamming Sami Zayn.
Oh well, yeah, that's you're just partial because we were in the building for that.
Yeah, but I've even gone back and watched it. It's like, oh yeah, this is so much better than Hogan slamming Andre. Are you kidding me?
Good grief. Put that on a quote board. Andy York says that Wee Man is better than Hulk Hogan. All right, cool.
Depends on what we're talking about.
We're gonna get ourselves in trouble.
I'll definitely say Wee Man was better than Warrior.
In
ring.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you could.
The body slam was more impressive than anything Warrior ever did.
That's true. I can get down with that. Okay. Appreciate you guys being with us, man. That was a fun show. I told Andy before we started recording, I didn't think we were going to go an hour, and I always say that, and we always end up going an hour. So here we are. Thank you guys for hanging with us. We appreciate it so much. Again, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. We would appreciate it so much. It helps us a ton. Go check out our friends over at SportsWire Radio and WSN and the great content that both of those platforms have. I know they would appreciate your support as well. Indie Backyard Wrestling, wishing us a wonderful night. Thank you. You as well. Thank you all for tuning into the show, whether you're watching live or you're checking out the replay. We appreciate your support very much. We will be right back here with you next Monday, following Monday Night Raw. At that point, we'll be 33 days away from WrestleMania. It is coming up quick. The card is taking shape. Andy, I'm excited, not just because I'm going to be there, but I'm excited to see what 3 lefts we need to take to make a right, to see what else comes up for WrestleMania this year.
Who even says Cody's going to be champion walking into WrestleMania?
Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows? We'll see.
We're going to find out coming up over the next 5 weeks. We're going to be right here to cover all of it for you. For Mr. Andy York, my name is Chris Belcher, and this has been another edition of Squared Circle Radio Live. We will catch you guys down the road.